gamers, and welcome back. I'm Rob, of course, or Warshak if you want to call me by my in-game name, and we're going to be doing a deck guide today on the Handlock. You heard me right, the Handlock, a deck that we haven't seen in quite some time now. I tried to play it a few seasons ago, but it just didn't seem to work out. I'm not sure what was missing. But this current list is actually doing really well for me on ladder, and hopefully I'll be able to show it off to you once we get into the game. So for those of you unfamiliar with how we kind of do our episodes and what to expect of this deck guide, we talk about the deck, we talk about why I have what I have in here, you know, whether we play one, whether we play two, if there's something left out that's normally in here, we'll cover that. Like I said, we'll talk about the deck list. From there, we'll head into some ranked games, we'll play. I'll talk about the mulligans, what to kind of look for when we're playing against a particular class. You know, what are we trying to aim to do, and kind of the thought process that goes into each and every turn. And then hopefully you guys can queue up with this deck and do quite well for yourselves. So without further ado, let's head into the deck list and talk about that a little bit further. With it being Handlock and Warlock, there's no more Reno Jackson, so the lacking of healing is a very real thing to Warlock, especially when you're using the hero power to sacrifice two of your life points to draw a card. So in response to taking that amount of damage, whether or not it's in the early game, the late game, whatever you feel like tapping, we've got Mistress of Mixtures in here to be able to heal you for whenever she dies, of course running two of those guys, and that's basically the same reason we're again running Earthen Ring Farseer, two of these as well. So that explains the healing in those particular cards. For the Mortal Coil, I was on the fence about one or two of these guys. Against aggro, of course, Mortal Coil is fantastic. You can use it against a 2-1. Your opponent starts off with a South Sea Deckhand or a Patches. Great against those particular cards. Goes 1 for 1. You draw 1 for, technically it's 2 for 1. You get through your deck, and it's not a bad card at all. But I found if you're playing against control decks, it's sometimes a dead card in your hand, which can be quite annoying. So I figured at the moment 1 seems to be the number. There could be potential for it to be 2 in the deck, but right now 1 seems to be key. Ancient Watcher, very interesting card, right? Because there's the Razor Leaf card, which I guess I'll go to right now. And when I originally did my deck guide, or not deck guide, deck testing on this particular deck, people were like, yo, you need to play Humongous Razor Leaf. What are you doing with your life, Rube? So we played Humongous Razor Leaf, and it just as good as the stats are for 1 more mana cost than the Ancient Watcher, it just doesn't seem to work out. It competes too much with the Earthen Ring, the Gluttonous Ooze, the Shadow Boat, and the Tar Creeper. On top of that, a lot of times on turn 4, we're playing the Molten or Mountain Giant and Twilight Drake. So playing this on 3 doesn't actually lead us into a good turn 4 play. Meanwhile, this is a good card with the Faceless Shambler. So is the Ancient Watcher. So I found that the Ancient Watcher is a good turn 2 play. You follow it up with the Sun Fury Protector, and it doesn't really disrupt the turn 4 play because you're not really leading into anything with it. Also, it's a good turn 6 play with going with the Ancient Watcher Shadow Flame. And on top of that, you know, a Faceless Shambler onto it is not bad as well. So there is preference between Ancient Watcher and Humongous Razor Leaf. I didn't forget the guy. I just chose not to play him because I ran him and I didn't like it. Doomsayer, this is it's just a staple card in most Handlock lists. Definitely too. It's your early game kind of stopper. You Doomsayer after they've played, you know, 1 or 2 creatures, and I'm sure we'll see that once we get into some of our ranked games. The Sun Fury Protector, normally people run 2 of these. I found 1 is just enough. It's not really that exciting of a card. It's a 2-mana 2/3 that it gives the adjacent minions next to it taunt, and meanwhile this is good for cards like Ancient Watcher because we pay 2 mana for a 4/5 that can't attack. You're like, Rob, what the fuck do I do with this shit? Normally the aim is to put it next to a Defender of Argus, which we'll get to in a second. A Faceless Shambler in it, or Faceless Shambler it. You Shadow Flame it. You Sun Fury Protector it. There's quite a few uses for the Ancient Watcher. It's not really meant to attack like it is in the Silence Priest, which that guide is coming eventually as well. We've also covered the Earthen Ring, the Gluttonous Ooze, playing against Control Mages, Taunt Warrior, Pirate Warrior, Paladins, Huntards, Rogues. Whether or not you're gaining a ton of armor is irrelevant. The destruction of the weapon is more important, and the armor is just an extra little bonus, right? You're a Warlock, you need health. What's the second best thing to health? Armor. On top of that, it's a 3-mana 3/3, so it's not terrible in stats. It's not the best, but it's still a creature to play even if your opponent doesn't have it, unlike cards like Hungry Crab. which are just awful. Normally a 1-drop 1/2 if your opponent doesn't have a Murloc just feels bad. Meanwhile, a 3-drop 3/3 doesn't feel terrible. If you're like, Rob, I don't have Gluttonous Ooze, I have Acidic Swamp Ooze, I don't know what to do, can I play that instead? Of course you can. The Gluttonous Ooze is kind of just the big brother, gives you armor on top of it. You wait one more turn to play it because it doesn't cost the 2 mana, but it's okay because you get the ability to get the armor with the weapon you've just destroyed. So that's pretty good. And I'm sure if we play a Pirate Warrior, a Control Mage, or some other class, this will come in clutch one of our games. The Shadow Bolt, this is a card I actually ran 2 of not too long ago, and I found that it kind of sometimes it bogs down your hand. You'd feel like a 3 mana deal 4 damage is pretty good, but the problem is that there's just better cards. It's good as a 1-of. You could play 2 of it instead of the Tar Creeper, but I like the Tar Creeper because if you're playing against an aggressive base deck, as Shadow Bolts may seem to be really cool, the Tar Creeper is actually far more annoying as just a general body of a 3/5 on your opponent's board than dealing 4 damage to a single minion is. Heading down to Tar Creeper, as a 1-of, it's pretty nice in the opening hand against aggressive base decks. It's just mostly an annoying card for your opponent to have to go around. Plus, this deck has a very high profile of being able to put out decent taunt minions. Of course, Ancient Watcher, Faceless Shambler. You can play, your Twilight Drakes and Defender of Argus or Sun Fury Protector them. The deck revolves around having some big walls. Tar Creeper kind of adds to that in the early game, and you'll notice if you do play this deck that the early game is something that this deck lacks a lot. If you don't end up drawing cards like your Doomsayer, your Argent Watchers, your Tar Creepers, and things like that. The Defender of Argus, we've kind of been over this in retrospect to the Sun Fury Protector, has the same sort of role, but it just costs a little bit more mana, and it gives the creatures +1/+1 instead of just only giving them taunt. Very good card in this particular deck. Some decks it used to be running more aggressive base decks to bump up your smaller minions, but in this deck it's to give your your Twilight Drakes, your Giants, and of course your Ancient Watchers taunt. Eater of Secrets. This is only a meta call. If you're facing a lot of mages, paladins, hunters, whatever the hell you're playing against, Eater of Secrets. I really hope in our video we're going to be able to cover Eater of Secrets destroying a mage. I'm sure we will. Mage is a super popular deck right now and very dominant in the meta. So hopefully we can queue ourselves into a mage and be able to Eater of Secrets, an ice block, a mirror entity, a counter spell. It just feels so damn good. So that's why this guy's in the deck, and I've actually put him into an array of my control decks right now. So if you find yourself playing a lot of mages, throw an Eater of Secrets, kill those bastards, and let's get rid of all the mages on ladder. Faceless Shambler. I mentioned why this guy is in the deck in retrospect to the Ancient Watcher. He copies another minion. It has taunt. So whether you're putting on your Twilight Drake and your Giants, those are the main targets, but you can still put it on your Ancient Watcher. It's not so bad. But if you run the Humongous Razor Leaf, your Faceless Shambler gets better, but keep in mind your curve looks a little bit weirder, and having this guy in the deck just makes it so like your other cards like your Twilight Drake and again your Mountain Giant are just so important. Like not drawing either of those cards in the first 10-15 cards of your deck it really hurts. You need at least 1 or 2 of those guys in either your mulligan or before turn 4. It's just so important to the deck. Double Hellfire is your early game field clear. It destroys Token Druid, destroys Token Shaman, it destroys Pirate Warrior. It's just a good early game clear. Granted, it does damage you for 3, but most of the time it helps more than it hurts. Shadow Flame is again early. I don't want to say early game clear because it's still turn 4. And you actually have to sacrifice a minion, but going like, Ancient Watcher, Shadow Flame for 6 mana, clear most of the time your entire opponent's board feels pretty nice. Twilight Drake, one of the most important cards in the deck, if not the most important, alongside Draxus and Mountain Giant. These are the cards that you just cannot replace, and it's just so detrimental. The games you play Twilight Drake or Giant on 4 are the games you normally win. It's just such a good card. Elise the Trailblazer, this is for the control matchup. The fact that you're able to shuffle a card into your deck, with you tapping so often, you're normally going to be able to, you normally hit Fatigue faster than your opponent, and with hitting Fatigue faster than your opponent, you're going to need to slow that down. How do you slow that down? Add cards to your deck. How do you add cards to your deck? Elise, a 5 mana 5/5, gives you 5 more cards, gives you value, and slows down fatigue. It's just a good card overall. Siphon Soul, I wish Warlock had a better single target removal spell. Blast Crystal Potion, it's not one of those cards I really want to play, to be honest. I'd rather play Siphon Soul. Again, it goes around the hole. You get to heal, you get to destroy a minion. I really wish this cost 5 mana. I'd run 2 of them. 6 mana, can only afford to really run 1. Abyssal Enforcer is basically a 7-mana 6/6 with Hellfire built into it. Again, decent card. It was really good in Reno decks. In Handlock, it's good. Not as good as I wish it was. Twisting Nether. This is your oh shit button. Always have to have an oh shit button. In most of the decks that I play that are mid-range or control, normally always have an oh shit button. And this is that. This is our oh shit button, being able to destroy everything on the board. Draxus, this is our ace in the hole. A lot of the times this deck won't be able to stuff like Taunt Warrior, Dragon Priest. Trying to think of some other super control, maybe Control Mage. Being able to win solely off of Twilight Drakes and Giants is normally not really possible unless you get like a really good start. You can Faceless Shambler a bunch of times and they just don't have the removal. But most of the time we got to wrap it up with our good old buddy Lord Draxus. He puts the beat down on people. And I don't want to get too much into his ability because it's pretty lengthy and it doesn't say it all in the card text. But if you want to further investigate Draxus, I'm sure just watch any of the games that we play and he'll get played. And Mountain Giant, we've Mountain Giant, yeah. If I said Molten Giant for this guy, my bad, Mountain Giant. It's kind of, again, part of the bread and butter. Just as important as the Twilight Drake. Being able to play this guy for 3 or 4 mana, depending on how your mulligan went and how you played cards versus tapping. Very important. You know, turn 4 8/8 is always better than a turn 4 7/7. For those of you around for the Shaman 4 mana 7/7 days. But yeah, really good card. Staple in the deck for sure. And that wraps up our deck look over, I guess you'd call it, and we'll head into the ranked games here. Hopefully we can pull off some sweet wins. Normally we play around 3 or 4 games and we lose 1, win 3 or 4. It depends on how I feel and what we want to do. So as always, or not as always, why am I ending the episode? I'll catch you in the ranked games. Let's get on into it. Alrighty, so heading into our first game here, we're gonna be going against a Rogue, Captain Crunch to be specific. Against a Rogue, it could be either Miracle or Quest. So I guess we would mulligan offensively to be sure. So definitely nothing that we see here. Hellfire is not that bad, but mainly looking for Doomsayer, Ancient Watchers, things like this. Something that we can put on the early board that we either can taunt up or, of course, copy with the Faceless Shambler. This is kind of unfortunate. If it is Miracle, we never play the Mistress, and if it is Quest, then playing the Mistress isn't that bad. I think I'm just going to hold. Maybe we can tap into a Twilight Drake, and that'll actually be able to put down quite a beatdown. Tapping should give him a good indication of that we're Handlock, unless we're just a zoo that drew absolutely horrible. Alright, so this is looking like it's going to be Miracle Rogue. I would much rather play against Miracle Rogue than I would Quest Rogue for sure. So we're gonna tap, bring it on back. Doesn't really get to do anything. We're gonna play the Mistress now, due to the fact that we're already 4 HP down from tapping, and he's still at full life. So it's a good time to play the Mistress. Maybe she can put in some chip damage. Not that it'll count because it'll heal him for 4 regardless. But anywho, still good to play it. I don't think he ever backstabs. Probably SI. Yeah. Nice. We can actually tap a Doomsayer and I'm pretty sure it'll go off. Unfortunately, we haven't drawn any Giants or Twilight Drakes, and those are kind of a big deal. Normally, we can get around drawing them if we draw like the Ancient Watcher with the Faceless Shambler. We do have a Shambler, so whenever we get any giant creature to stick, whether it's a 5/5, 4/5 Drake or a Giant, we throw this on there, and it's pretty good because this copies the stats, has Taunt. The problem with Miracle Rogue is, depending if he's running the Sap version or not. Currently, my Miracle Rogue only runs 1 Sap. He could be running 2. Don't really know yet. It looks like he's going to let this trigger. I highly doubt he's going to prep into anything. So we're going to be taking 3, initiative back to us. Then it looks like we may go ahead and Gluttonous Ooze or Earthen Ring. Depends whether or not he attacks with his weapon or not. We normally want to hit like a 2 Oh, he is going to prep. Wow. He's investing. He invested in a Vis and a prep into killing Doomsayer to save his 3/3. Very interesting. Wow. I wouldn't have said that's a very interesting play. I'm gonna go with another Doomsayer, and we can either Shadow Bolt the 3/3. So currently he has 5+1, which puts him at 7. If we Shadow Bolt this puts him at 3, so it's still away from a backstab. Meanwhile, let's say we hit a 1/1, it still keeps 4 with 1, which means he can backstab. So I think it's okay to Shadow Bolt this 3/3 in the hopes that this Doomsayer triggers, and then we get a turn 6 to ourselves. Hopefully, again, we can draw into Drake, Giant, just a creature, kind of. I wish Twilight Drakes and Giants weren't as important as important in this deck as they are, but unfortunately, those are just key cards to the deck that you can't really get around. So if we tap, we can actually play the Giant. It's always best to fit in as many taps as you can. We're still at 20. If we were at like 15, I probably wouldn't have tapped, but since we're still above 20, it's not as bad. Plus, we have 2 Mistresses. We've got a Earthen Ring in our hand. We got a Siphon Soul. We've got answers. We've got healing. It's not too bad. I'm just going to hope that this sticks. He can Slayer it, which would suck, but he's at 6 mana. Ooh, this is going to be good. No, stop. Is he going to double coin the sap? No way. Okay. I was about to say that it was highly unlikely. This is gonna be good. So I don't think there's ever a world in which we don't copy this card. Now we have 3 mana left over. So the options, we could have healed this, but I'd rather heal face 100%. We could go with the Gluttonous Ooze, take out this weapon, make a trade there. This guy goes down to 1. We could go with the Mortal Coil, see what we draw if we would have done that. Maybe we should have ordered it a little differently to draw first, but I don't think that would change anything. So it's basically, what do we value? Do we value putting down like a Mistress of Mixture and coiling this, or do we want to Gluttonous Ooze, put a little bit more on the board, get rid of this weapon, and keep this around? But the problem with keeping this around is that we have to trade into either one of these, because both of these will trade into this 8. So I kind of like... I'm going to throw down the Ooze and make this trade. We'll see how this does. We've got a lot of power on board. He's already used Fan of Knives. He's already one of this down. He did create a card from our deck, or a card from our class, I should say, with the Swash, but we're not really that scared about that. There's a lot of bad Warlock cards. There's also a lot of good Warlock cards, like Twisting Nether. So he's gonna prep. Maybe we'll see a sprint here. Prep, Hero Power, Sap, Vile Spine, okay. So the prep was just to get the Slayer off. Okay. This guy is running out of resources, and we are not. We're not. So I guess we'll start off with the trade into the Mortal Coil. Does Abyssal Enforcer change anything? I don't think so. I think we could actually go Earthen Ring, Mistress of Mixtures, but then we play heavily into AoE, right? So let's say we can just tap here. We'll see what we get. Another Giant. This is good. So we actually can go Giant Mistress. And then next turn we can go with the Defender of Argus. He's already used 1 Slayer, 1 Abyss, double prep. He only has 5 cards in hand, so he's not making a big Edwin. If he is, they don't have Conceal anymore. We've got a Siphon Soul on the go. We also have Twisting Nether in the bank. Like I said, that Swashbuckler card could have been a big deal. A lot of bad Warlock cards. He got a good one, unfortunately. That really sucked. That really sucked. All right, so we're gonna go with this. I really don't feel like tapping, to be honest. We could tap, but I don't really feel like it. We're gonna go Defender of Argus and just go face. Like I said, we could tap, but we're already at below 20. We already have plenty of gas, so I'm good. There's merit to look for Jiraxis, but yeah. Maybe it was a mistake to not tap there, because we do have the Mistress and still double these guys in our hand. Yeah. Watcher. It really does nothing, to be honest. Might as well go all in, right? Play as much as we can. It makes the Abyssal Enforcer in our hand bad, but I don't think we're going to be playing that.
Pay attention, class.
Ooh, he plays Teacher in his Miracle Rogue. Back to the OG style. I like it. It's unfortunate that we haven't drawn either Drake. But, you know, not all games you're going to be able to draw both Drakes. And then he also, keep in mind, Siphon sold our Giant. So. Quite a bit of luck coming from this guy. Here's our Elise. Definitely going to play her.
This jungle hides many secrets.
Well, we might as well tap after this. Well, he's at 10, we're at 12. If we tap, Eater of Secrets does us nothing. We need to kill this Violet Teacher.
Of course.
Shields up.
Might as well make use of these. This sentry. I know this dies to both of these, but it would have died regardless. We had to stop the students from being made. Cut off the head of the snake. This is just the tail. It'll die eventually. Unfortunately, we're not playing like a mage, a paladin, or a hunter, so this is kind of useless in every matchup but that. But against those classes, very, very useful. Fantastic. Holy shit, he got Twisting Nether too. Oh my god. It's insane, the RNG of our opponents sometimes, guys. It is just unbelievably crazy. His two randomly generated spells from the deck were Siphon Soul, Twisting Nether, and I believe we mentioned Twisting Nether earlier in the video. We said that was a possibility. But you just can't play around cards like that. You can't play around generating a random card from your opponent's class. Like, that just doesn't, no. You just don't do it. So, our best draws are the Pack, a Drake, or a Jiraxis. Shambler's not bad.
My shield for Argon.
Do we ever just go face? I think so. I don't think we tap. We're getting down to the nitty gritty. We're also drinking that fine wine tonight, for those of you wondering what we're drinking. Oh, man. Well, we still got 2 ace in the holes. I highly doubt we're going to need Twisting Nether. I didn't think trading into a 1-1 was really worth it, because I figure he's going to have to make the trades anyway. He's only generated 2 random cards from our deck because of double swash, so I don't think we're going to see a Hellfire from this guy unless he's like some god's gift to Earth. Meanwhile, Twisting Nether and Siphoning Soul, 2 random cards he generated, happen to be 2. I don't know, man. This guy's some next level shit right here. Captain Crunch. You got that good, man. Interesting trades that he would choose not to kill. I guess he's going to Abyss the 7/4 and trade his 3/3 into the... Why would he sap the... Why would he sap that one? Interesting. Okay. Eh. Again, I don't want to tap. I don't want to hit Fatigue. I'm actually scared of Fatigue versus a Miracle Rogue right now. And the reason we didn't Twisting Nether is because we accomplished the same thing as Nether with a Siphon Soul. So like, let's say he does big things, right? He goes like Auctioneer, Sap, Giant. He just does crazy shit. We can easily deal with it with a Twisting Nether. So right now we want him to play the Giant right now. We really want him to play the Giant. He did not play the Giant. We actually have to Twisting Nether this board, which means he's gonna develop a Giant after that, and we're so fucked. We can't let this Auctioneer live. Or can we? He's already double sapped. He needs 11 burst. Do we think he has 11 burst? Not particularly. We still have Draxus. I'm gonna take the risk. I'm gonna take a calculated risk and say he doesn't have it. He needs 11 burst. He's already used one of this. I don't think he runs Cold Bloods. If he goes face, we Draxus. If he doesn't go face, we're still ahead. I just can't Twisting Nether a 7/4 knowing that he still has an 8/8 in the deck, because we have no way to kill the 8/8. This is good. This is good. Oh, baby. Yes. Yes, develop into my... Oh, yes. This was the turn that made or break this rogue. And long behold, he's broken. I will remember you. Tra-la-la-la. You will remember me. Tra-la-la-la. Don't let your life pass you back.
I got the best deals anywhere.
Oh, man. I think we always Draxus here.
You face Draxus, Eladar Lord of the Burning Legion.
He has to kill these 1/1s or he loses, because weapon in 1/1s is death. If he trades with the 1/1s, death. He has to trade his 4/4 with the 1/1 unless he has lethal. He has one card. It's not gonna work. Oh man, it's interesting that we got shares in though. What an interesting start card to get from a pack when we're playing against a rogue, right? Plantoons, we got the plantain. Oh, he's actually still in this. Psych. Oh man, he's playing to his outs. Now he's just dead to fatigue at this point. I guess I'll let him fatigue.
Smart moves. I concede.
Cool. All right, that's one win down. Unfortunately, that was with poor RNG and quite, in my opinion, some bad draws. So, one would think with good draws or with normal RNG, it could be even more promising. Could be good. Oh, man. We haven't done a deck guide in quite some time. Last month was not our month, guys. For those of you, I know this is kind of off the subject of a deck guide, but last month, guys, it was just like the game we had just played. Imagine that 2 times worse in regards of RNG, and then just sprinkle a little bit of like a worse hand in there, and that was like how that month went. It was just awful. This is a very good hand. This is very good, especially against a priest. Twilight Drake, how you doing? The way we lose this particular matchup, though, is if he is running Miracle Priest, and he gets an amazing start. So, like, let's say he's Miracle Priest, he hits us with, like, a 20-20, we can't really deal with it. Bada bing, bada boom, we lose. But for the most part, we're going to be able to do what we want in the early game. He's Dragon Priest, now that we know he's Nether Spite Historian. So we're going to play it a little bit slower. And we're going to be able to do big things. I think I'm going to even drop the Doomsayer, to be honest, because this guy dying, it doesn't feel that bad. He's going to have to Shadow Ward Pain this if he wants to keep that guy around. Are you willing to commit a Shadow Ward Pain to keep your 1/5 alive to a Doomsayer? I mean, if you have it, it's good. But if not, it is just so good. Okay, so he's going to attack, heal, draw 1. He has coin, so it looks like he's going to coin Shadow Word Pain, which is even worse for me. No coin Shadow Word Pain. Fantastic. Kill the Northshire Cleric and everything. This is where we develop Twilight Drake first, because it can't be dealt with by a priest. 4 attack is their worst fucking nightmare. Operative is our worst nightmare. That was an extremely quick pick. It's not Siphon Soul or Twisting Nether, which means it's Jaraxxus. He picked that so fast, guys. He picked that so fast. I want to play the giant, but at the same time, I know it's gonna get wrecked, which means I want to coin Siphon Soul. Yeah. It's unfortunate that he got Jiraxis. Oh, Jesus. Crazy card, man. Crazy card. Alright, let's see if he has Shadow Word Death. I think he does. Shadow Visions. Oh man, that was so fucking quick.
Once upon a time.
These picks are snaps. You know he's got the good when they're snaps. Oh, that's a great card. Just keep beating the face, man. Just keep hitting the face for 4 over and over and over again, and eventually he will die. Oh my god. Stop with the operatives, man. I get it, you're a Dragon Priest mastermind, but you just need to chill out. So this may in fact be the games that we lose, but we'll see what happens. Doomsayer, looks like he really wants to reset this board. Jiraxis is good for us. Jiraxis is a good thing. Do we let it pop or no? I really don't mind our Abyssal Enforcer. Oh man. This plays around Dragonfire Potion because we want to keep this guy healthy. This guy being at 1 doesn't make a difference. So he targeted a minion. There's the Dragonfire. There's the Shadow Bolt. We're gonna develop the Jiraxis on curve. I don't see a better time to do this.
You face Jiraxis, Handlock, Lord of the Burning Legion.
And I think we might have just sketched out a win to tempo.
You face Jiraxis,
I told you guys he got Jiraxis.
Lord of the Burning
100%. 100% this guy got Jiraxis. Oh! Baby! Feels so damn good. Ooh, daddy. Daddy. So he needs a Twisting Nether. He doesn't have enough mana. He needs Dragonfire Potion into Shadow Word Death. He just doesn't have it. You done, son. Even with that RNG, guys. No, that's quadruple operative we just got hit with. We got hit with the quadruple operative. We're still making it. Still making the bank. Hey, baby. Shorty, what's in your drink? It's all because that Twilight Drake carried us. 4 attack minions against priests, guys. Their own worst enemy. It's their own worst enemy. Alright, so let's wrap up this as a 3-0 deck guide. That would be fantastic. Against the mage? Okay.
You asked for it.
We'll see what we can do. Eater of Secrets. I'm feeling it. I'll actually keep it in my opening hand. Twilight Drake, why not? I know this is a really weird opening hand, but Twilight Drake is always something we look for in Eater of Secrets. Normally we don't play it on the upfront, but let's say he's playing the aggressive Secret Mage, then it's good to keep the Eater of Secrets. We play it on curve, and it's just nice. If he's playing the Control Mage, we would normally play it as when we were getting lethal, because if he played any time earlier, he can still Ice Block again, because he runs 2 of them, and then you're still in the same situation of Ice Block, you can't kill him, he kills you the next turn. So, we'll see what happens. Alright, so there was an option to drop the Watcher and hopes to play the Argus on 4, but because we have the Drake on 4, it's normally always best to play the Drake on 4.
An incredible discovery.
Our best card is a Doomsayer. Shambler. Oh man, this is a hard one. We either tap and go with the Drake and hope he's not playing the aggressive version because he's going to play a secret next turn. Or we go with the Watcher and we can just defend our Vargas. I think I'm going to go with the hero power though. There's our Doomsayer. We'll see what he does. There are a lot of lines of play we can make in the next couple turns. There are a lot of lines. Because I don't know if he's running the aggressive mage yet. I just don't know. It looks like secret, but I'm just not too, I'm not sold on it. Because right now this could be a mere entity. He could have just had a slow start, could be a mere entity. We play Drake, we get completely fucking fucked. If we play Doomsayer and it's the slow mage, it's not bad, but we go off to a little bit slower start. I'd prefer to go with the Doomsayer. Alright, it looks like control mage from this. We're not going to tap. Because I don't want to take any unnecessary damage anymore. We already have everything we need in our hand. He's going Valet? Holy crap, he wants to keep the... Oh my god, he's committing so much to this. Can we punish this with a Hellfire? Why would he do this? Why would he commit so much to keeping a 2-3 alive? He used a fire. He used 6 damage and a spell to conserve a 2-3 and develop a 2-3. I don't know. We know it's not a mere entity. Could be a counter spell. I really want to Eater of Secrets and find out. But at the same time, I can't Eater of Secrets because if he's control mage, that'll actually win him the game. So we could go with the Giant, or we could go with Drake. I kind of like the Drake is, or the Giant's good. Let's see if he ignores this. He already used Frostbolt. He could Fireball and trade. Okay. I'm just gonna drop another Giant and go face. Oh man. He's making this very difficult for me. This is actually pretty scary. Do we ever play the Mistress or do we go with the Watcher? So we might be playing the Argus next turn. I think the Mistress is good. We always smack face. If he's gonna let the 8 attacks live, we smack face a couple times, we Eater of Secrets at the end, GG. So he's coining the Flame Strike? Coining the... What would he be going face with for 7? Firelance Portal? No way! Yeah, I was about to say, you going face with Firelance Portal? Are you cry shenanay? This guy is crazy. He's next level. This guy is simply some next level shit right here. I don't think we're gonna die if we let that live, to be honest, so I think I'm just gonna go with this plan.
This might sting.
We could trade here, or we could go face and push lethal next turn. He needs 8. He needs a Fireball Frostbolt. I guess I have to kill this. Man. So we have 16, 18, 20. Fuck. We're 2 off. I really wanted to go face. I really wanted to go face. There's the Frostbolt. He doesn't know where he's in the hole, though. He needs Fireball to win. Fireball on 8. There's no way to kill our Mistress. Oh, man.
No, trust me.
My shield for Argon.
This might sting.
I mean, we win next turn. He has to have fireball, fireball. It's guaranteed lethal. There's fireball ping. Looks like we win. Calculated risks. Calculated risks, boys. Ice block it was. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Handlock coming back, boys. Coming at you live right now with the handlock. So great 3 games, no doubt about that. We're fresh into the season, so everybody, this isn't at the end of the season, rank 10. This is, I think, day 4 or 5. So, you know, we're going against mostly, I don't want to say legend everybody, but, you know, we're going against some high-level people. This isn't, like I said, you know, day 20, 25, we're doing a deck guide at rank 10. No. This is early in the season. We're playing handlock. We're able to actually grind on stream pretty well. We jumped from 19 to 15 with like 11-0 the other day. Not on stream, but off stream with the deck that we're going to be highlighting soon. Then on stream, we went from 15 to 10 in like, you know, 3 hours or something like that. It's been really good. So with that, thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next deck guide or episode as always. I'm Warshak, of course, and happy whatever the hell day it is.